Oh man.
All right, gotta be enough there. VJ, very excited to be here with you.
Yeah, man.
Um,
This is the highlight of my week.
we've
All every day, every week.
I've had the occasion to do this by accident a few times, where we were trying to go to the OPP private page, and lo and behold, I was out there in the world. You know, it's like you're taking a piss and you forgot to close the door and everybody can see you. You know,
Well, I think it's also a little bit of free advertising. People are like, "Oh, what's he gonna have to say?" And you're like, "Oh, wait, you don't get to hear this exclusive conversation that we're about to have."
yeah.
So,
Well, and Lord knows there's been some exclusive conversations that have gone on within the OPP private page.
it's
And
true.
and I tell you, the irony of it is, in my mind, is that there's so much cool stuff going on with these folks that have been following our training programs, but nobody gets to hear it unless they actually somewhere else get out there on Instagram or wherever and make comments about it. And that's unfortunate in my mind. I just think that had more people had a chance to see the kind of things that were going on and the results these folks were getting and how smooth this thing sails, it would be fighting room only just to keep everybody out from underneath our doorstep.
Hey, I still hold out hope. I think once people see the results that we're getting from the group, that's one thing. They can only hear what people have to say about the group, but they don't get to see the results on race day.
Yeah,
So as we're moving into our preseason phase in the OCR Performance Project, I think people are going to really, once those first races of the year start, and we got people cracking the podium, winning their age group, people are going to see what's up and say, I think I need a little bit of that.
that's where they're
But
going to
by
find
then,
out
it
about it.
might be a little too late.
I was
Might be a
just
little
going to
too
say,
late.
that, when they finally figure it out, it's going to be a little too late. I mean, well, not terribly too late, but it's going to be later than they hoped for when they start noticing that these guys are showing up on the podium. It's like you're running along and you're like, whoa, what? Yeah, he just passed me. The dude that never passed me just passed me. And he's leaving me behind. So, anyway, before we get into all that, we discussed or we promised in the earlier post that we were going to talk about. We called it preseason. We don't want to call it off season. Now we've been off season for a year. I don't think
Yeah, close to it.
I don't think anybody needs any more recovery from the season. You know, um, what they need is to get back to work, and we are going to discuss the types of things that should be going on right now. What are we doing? How do we do it? Given the circumstances with the COVID shutdowns and all that crap, what should we be doing? What's important? What should we do first? What should we do second? And so on and so far. So I'm going to put it to you right up front. First thing that comes to mind, you're thinking, okay, been like a hibernating bear all year long, forgot to wake up, and now you realize it's time to hunt. It's time to get out there. What's the first thing that you feel like you need to address?
First thing, usually, well, the first thing that I always address is my run game. That's usually the thing that falls off the most. And that's usually the aerobic side of things, my sustainable work. Um, and that's usually what I dive into. But my main problem, always like looking back, whenever I take any time off, is that I jump back in full swing. I think I've ran a 60-mile week before. That's where I'm going to jump back in. I'm just going to go straight for that. And usually I end up wrecking myself. I get way too tired. Then I have to take like a super low week or two and I have to start all over again. So my main problem is I get a little overzealous right off the bat, thinking I can just jump in when, your body has gotten used to the demand that it's had, which has been basically nothing. So that you can't just dump, a full load training week on yourself and expect it to work. So fortunately for me, I've learned
Yeah.
and I've adapted.
Right.
So,
Well,
well,
let me take it a step further. I think that what ends up happening is people jump into races and are ill prepared. And they come to find out mid race that, oh shit, I should have probably put a little bit more volume into my training. They fall off a rig or something. So, oops, not enough grip strength. I mean, you don't want to go into a gunfight with a butter knife. While we're kind of bantering right back and forth, let me just do two things. One, let people know if you're paying attention to us right now and you're listening to what we're talking about and you want to be part of the party, all you have to do is comment. And once we know you're here and you want to drop us your email, and somewhere along the way in the course of this, I'm going to provide a couple things. We're going to give away a copy of Training the Dark Side. And we're also, what else did I say we're going to do?
that you wanted to give away?
Um,
Well, we got some
but they've got,
discounts coming.
oh, I take that back. In order to get the book, in order to get the book, you need to join the OPP program while we're on live. And you're going to want to as soon as you hear how things are going. Yeah, I almost totally shit the bed just now. Hold on, let's bring Jason in here. Let me sort.
Well, you could still give away a copy. I'd support that.
Look at Jason's in the green room right there. Let's go ahead and put him. Should I put him on the outside of me or on the inside of me?
Let's put you center stage, or you can put him in the middle. Put him in the middle.
Put him in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Well, didn't work, but there he is.
Hey, man.
Monkey in the middle. All right, what's up, man?
Jason is one of our sweet members of the OCR Performance Project. And we've seen a lot of good results from a lot of people. And what we're really looking for here is just, Jason, why don't you tell us how you've been feeling about the programming, how the training's been affecting you, and, basically how it's been going. We just want to see how you've been feeling. I mean, we've already talked to you, but,
Yeah, so, dude, I've been loving the program. I started back when it first came up. I noticed I was doing some races and everything, and I'd like gas out maybe a mile or two into it, and I wasn't liking what was happening. And so I started reading some books. I, found some running books and everything else, listened to some podcasts, and then Rich came on and talked about his Dark Side book. And so that intrigued me to kind of learn a little bit more. So I got on his site, I ordered the book and everything, and then in his programs and everything, he showed that he had a new obstacle course thing coming out with him and Veejay, with you guys, and I was like, I want to be able to perform better, right? And what better? There's nothing out there really specific for obstacle course racing, right? There's stuff at the Ninja Gyms, and then there's running, but there's nothing really marrying the two together. So I was like, you know what? Let me jump in on this and see what it's about. So I joined in a couple of days after it all started out, and man, you guys put us through the ringer. It's no joke, right? It's great. Once a week we're able to get in and have Facebook Live conversations and meet with Veejay and Rich, able to answer questions about the workouts. And it's really cool to see the mixture of the running and utilizing his new flow stuff within it, and then also the grip and kind of combining running and grip and obstacle course race without really like making an obstacle course gauntlet of things that you usually do. You hear, go run 400 meters and then do like a bunch of pull-ups, and then run 400 meters and do like wall overs and run that's not the case that we're doing here. It's really training the grip and your aerobic engine and getting us built. And I've been loving it. I've actually seen, we had a nice little challenge within the group of a bucket mile, right? A nice little workout thing, and we hit and did like a baseline, and then we trained and went through a little periodization for about a month or so. And then we hit it again, and I was able to take 55 seconds off my time. Nice. In preparation for another for the OCR Stars that's going on right now, right? The group, a lot of us were kind of wanting to kind of perform, see how we could do. And so Rich had one of these devious ones, whereas you stepped over a box for 50 times, and then you go run 400 meters and then do burpee pull-ups, and you hit that thing for it's basically like an hour workout, right? Well, through the whole thing, he hit us up, and then 6 weeks later, he threw it in there again to program, and I was able to take like 3 minutes and 45 seconds off of my time. That's based good. Off of, the programming and being consistent with it, right? I may not be able to hit everything. Some of the hill stuff is a struggle here in New Orleans, where I don't have a lot of hills and things to hit, but I do the best I can and hit all the ones that I'm able to. And I've been seeing the payoff with just the workouts, and I feel better. I'm able to go I've never run more than like an hour. He's programming 1.5-hour flow runs and everything. And when I first started, I hit like an hour 15 in, and I'd just hit a wall. I'd have to walk. And the past few times, man, I've been able to be finishing strong and hitting miles and stuff that I've never run before. And it's a testament on how well the program's been working.
I know it's been no joke. The workouts have been aggressive. And, it's funny because Veejay and I get on the phone. And so we go, okay, it's Thursday. We're going to put up some work for these guys for the next week. And so I'll go high, he goes low. I go low, he goes high. And then we look at it and go, shit, these guys are going to get killed this week. And so he may say, hey, that's a lot of running. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of strength. And so we try to meet somewhere in the middle. So it's an interesting collaboration in where we're able to provide you with just a nice balance of work. And, fortunately, since it's been a little while now, I'm getting to know you guys. And it's fun because we're seeing your progress. It's really been entertaining.
Yeah. The first time we got to see you guys start cutting time off the bucket mile was very cool, because I wrote down all the times that everyone had logged for the bucket mile. And then I logged all the times on our next attempt, which I think was about 5 weeks later. And seeing anything from a minute, I think someone improved close to 4 minutes on a workout that was only a mile long, was really impressive for me. And honestly made me feel really good. Like, we were really getting people in good shape, and we were going about it the right way. And, thanks for sticking with the program, and I'm glad you're seeing awesome results. As we move into our next phase of building for next season, we kind of threw you guys into the fire right at the start. But this next phase is going to focus on building and making sure you have the best foundation to make you reach new heights next season, and just make you crush some races. Yeah, that's all we need. Just crush some races.
Not to cut you off, but I think that it's worth noting that the difference between this program and a lot of programs is, aside from us just writing program and tossing it out there to see if it sticks, we're able to see the outcome, because everybody in the program is in my Training Peaks account, just like my my elite athletes that are logged in. And we see the cause and effect relationship with their work. So if Jason was in conversation with us and we wanted to find out how he's doing, we could look at his paces. We could look at the changes in where he lives. It doesn't have much change in elevation, but we could certainly see whether his paces are improving. We could see what his heart rate responses look like. We could see how much time he spent. We have a way to look at the stress score to see how much load he's putting on his body throughout the course of the day. So it's a lot more robust relationship, I think, than people might even think it is. The only difference between this and my private training is that this is group. I mean, we're throwing workouts that everybody's doing. And somebody might go, oh, my God, that might be a little much for me. Someone might think, oh, my God, that's not enough for me. But the distinction is that. It's not much different than that, other than the fact that when my private clients, I have a personal phone call with them every week where, we got these guys getting together in group. Some of them show up, some of them don't. But it's guys like Jason that is showing up. He's there. And we are able to communicate with him and find out what's going on with him. So it's been good. So, Jason, how much volume were you putting in as a runner beforehand?
I was I wasn't growing up. I grew up playing soccer, and then I would just for fun on the weekends and during the week, I maybe go out and run a 3 or 4 mile here or there. So maybe consistently I was going maybe 10 miles a week if I was lucky. And then I started about a year or so ago, I started running a little bit more consistently, and I was putting in maybe 15 to 20 miles a week. And now, since starting the program and everything, I'm sitting probably average between 25 to 32, I think is kind of where we're sitting at. It might be a little bit more volume when you add in some of the mileage that we get through like the strength or other workouts, but just the pure running, it's sitting probably about 25 to 30. And that's more based on like my pace that I'm able to sustain, because we're going for time, not for distance, for a lot of the workouts that you're programming right now.
Whereabouts in New Orleans do you live?
I live 30 miles outside the city. I'm in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, about halfway.
What
I live
town?
right off the levee. Montz, Montz. It's a little town off the river.
I lived just outside New Orleans. I lived in Mandeville for a while. You know where that is?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Right across the river.
Right across the causeway.
Yep.
It may please you to know that once upon a time I did the Crawfish Man triathlon. You heard of that?
Okay. I've heard of that. Yes, I have.
I swam in that stupid lake, you know, standing on stuff in the water that you're not sure what it is. I'm like, you know, could be an alligator. Who knows, right? As a matter of fact, to take it a step further, I did the Louisiana State Triathlon Championships in 1985. In the Snake River. Oh, man. So you could have New Orleans and all of that. I know it's flat as a pancake.
Yep. At least I have access to the levee, so I have lots of mileage. I can run on a nice levee with at least good views and not having to worry about all the potholes and the cars and the crazy
I'm
people.
sure. As a matter of fact, I did a clinic in Baton Rouge a few years back, right in your neighborhood.
I wish you'd come back, but I know that you're basically staying home now. So
yeah, I'm good. Look,
hey, there's a little bit of traveling.
Dude's getting all right, so let's talk about this training approach, and you kind of touched on the fact that being preseason, off season, whatever you want to call it, that not doing too much too soon, which is a really important thing to bring to light. But circumstances being what they are, a lot of people are still not able to get into a gym. A lot of people don't have the type of equipment that they might hope for at home, and being difficult to even purchase the type of equipment you might need at home because it's getting sold out. I'm sure, Jason, you probably ran into that where you went to buy something and you couldn't get it.
Fortunately, I already built my own home gym in the garage prior to all this happening, because I basically have my family, and so all my workout, I'm doing it at the house, so I've already built up my little home gym. So I was set with all that. I didn't have to worry about it, thankfully.
Good planning.
That's the move.
Yeah. So, but can I tell you, I think that a little creativity goes a long way. And external loading is great, but I don't know that it's as necessary as a lot of people would like to believe. I see people that can't command their own body weight, and until you get to that place, you really shouldn't get that overly concerned about overloading with external load. Being able to do a chin-up, being able multiple chin-ups, be able to do a dead hang for a minute or so, and then do a chin-up. Just not able to do much push-ups. And as you found with that, we call that workout step over forever.
Yep.
You just take yourself a box, hopefully 24 inches tall, and you can replicate elevation just by stepping over that box, which is, in your neck of the woods, is an important tool, because that's what the plan was with that whole box thing. Is you could just do the math and figure out how much elevation you created for yourself by how many repetitions you stepped over the box. And I think you might have noted in the notations that I put out that
about 1,600 feet.
1,600 feet of elevation.
We're going to give them the opportunity to get some really great training for a steak dinner.
A steak dinner.
You skip one steak dinner a month, and you got a month of solid workouts.
Oh. What
more do you need? I don't see how that could be any better.
Well, let me take it a step further. A bottle of scotch for me is about 4 times that price, and that doesn't even last a month. So, hell, my Cuban cigars cost $50 a piece. You just got to prioritize, right? You know, I don't drink bad booze. It's just not. I don't do that. I don't. This is my temple. You know, my body is my temple, and I'm not going to put crap in it. It's worth it to me. It's worth it to me. You got nothing else to do.
I'd like to
Look
point
at
out that Rich has been sober for
a while.
how long? A,
A
a
while.
little
At
too
least 2
long.
months.
No, I took a couple breaks. You know, I took a couple breaks.
He celebrated when I came into town, and we ran a good mile. So he's like, this deserves a little celebration. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's not going cold turkey, but you know, we're on Operation Ripped Rich right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking next year he's going to have some sort of resemblance to Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's just my assessment of the situation.
See if I can make this work. I want you to. This is Arnold. By the way, if you could see this picture, and I want you to let me see if I can make that work. Looking
You
at
can
my
see it.
left
We can see
hand,
it.
you see the Cuban cigar. Me and Arnold smoked Cuban cigars. This is when he was running for governor of California, right? But I want you to know the reason I'm sharing this with you is because you could see that my shoulders are absolutely broader than his. I
Yeah,
make
why are
him
you
look.
making Arnold Schwarzenegger look like a little
He
bitch?
looks like my bitch right now. Just saying.
Oh my gosh.
Now that wasn't
Well,
made up. That was true. That's a real picture of me and Arnold. You know, we
I don't
say
let anyone coach me unless they've smoked cigars
with
with
Arnold
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger. And I think that should be the standard.
Yep. Camera
I'm
angle.
with it.
Yeah. Clint says camera angle. That's why I look bigger. No, well,
Yeah,
you
we'll
know, but
see.
I'll tell you, I will, in his defense, I will say he's thicker than me. I mean, from his chest to his back, you know, you could hide people inside of him. He's a huge dude. And he's got a hand like a mop. I mean, I got a pretty big hand. He's got a huge hand. But let's get back on point here. So, $69 a month. You're not going to have to pay an enrollment fee until Black Friday. At Black Friday, we changed the deal. It goes right back up, and because you know we're trying to remain as exclusive as possible. We don't want just anybody showing up, but we certainly are going to allow people to come in if they take advantage of this deal. And incidentally, if they go to my site, they're also going to see some of the other publications I've created are available on sale as well. So, you know, I historically on my podcast, I used to like to give things away on Black Friday, but it's just there's so many people doing stuff on Black Friday that it's just dumb. That's why we decided to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
So
Good deals,
anyway,
though.
there's a buttload of people, and I guess they're shell shocked. They're afraid to try to come on with us. But folks that have been in the program that have been doing very well. I mean, I know some of these folks are, you know, just their running times have dropped dramatically. You know, you're seeing 5K times drop, 1 mile times drop. All of the running we've been doing is improving. Um, there's been a few folks that came into the program that were subject to injuries and they're still kind of battling a little bit, but at least they got somebody there to help them kind of walk through it. Daniel Weiss, you know, I think it was something dumb he did and tripped and screwed his ankle up.
But that's
Anyway,
one of the plus sides of the program too. It's that once a week, Rich and I are both going to get on most of the time. Rich and I are both going to get on and we're going to talk to everybody and we're going to address any questions that anyone has about the workouts, the training. You have concerns about the way you're moving, you have an injury, anything coming up. We can address that for you and give you either tools or advice on how to move forward from there and how to improve, or just clear up any questions about the workouts or the training that we have for the week. So I think that it's a really cool program that we've created, a cool environment, and some of the challenges we put together have been pretty fun. Rich's favorite was the Life Alert Challenge. I'll leave that just for the OCR
yeah,
Performance Project members to remember that. But yeah,
We're still
it's
waiting.
definitely
We're
worth
still
it.
waiting for yours, VJ. We're still waiting for
I
yours,
know he's a coward.
Ah,
dude. I got my
maybe
kids to do it, and we're still waiting for you.
Yeah,
okay.
I
I'll
remember
make
you
up
had the
for it,
videos. Your
and I'll
videos
do it
came
in the
up.
snow. Okay, I'll do it in the
You'll do it in the
snow
snow.
to make up for my late my tardiness. So, but
All
just
right.
reiterating, love to have some more people in the group coming through. And Jason, I think you're going to like the next phase of training. This is really going to be focused on building people for next season. We were just kind of getting you used to the training, the way that we like to pursue things, and we were trying to work on some intensity things as well because of the events we had coming up. But now we're building. We're going to build monsters.
Yeah, we're going to build volume.
And
So
we're
it's
going to build
time to
volume.
it's time to get back to some running, and we're planning on putting in some work. Look at that little guy. There you
He's a
go.
member.
He's got that life alert thing worked out.
Sweet.
How
He
many of
goes on
those
my
you
little
got?
aerobic runs with me
How many of
in
those
the
you got?
stroller. I have 3 others. I have
Woo!
4 kids.
Starting your own army.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, look. Thank you. So, parting statements, Veejay.
Just reiterate. Basically, we came on to talk about a little bit of preseason and what our goals are for then. I think you should just do a little bit of talking about what you like to see from athletes going into preseason, weaknesses that you think people should address, things that you see most people need to work on going into a season, and the way that you like to see athletes approach training. I think I know what you're going to say, but I think the people need to hear what you have to say.
I'm really curious to know what you thought I was going to say.
Well, you're fond of intensity. That's a friend of yours, and the way that you introduce it is a lot easier than many other people will. Say if there was 30% of your weekly volume was going to be intensity, usually that would beat people down pretty hard. But the way that you introduce it in these flow workouts can actually make it quite sustainable because you're slowly introducing a little bit of intensity throughout your runs on 3 to 4, sometimes even 5 days out of the week, while the priority or the majority of your work is still aerobic. But every day you're introducing a little bit of that energy system into your work, and it makes it very sustainable to do. And personally, from my own results, I've seen myself just adapting to that kind of work very, very well. And I'm guessing that's the approach that you're going to continue to utilize, considering you wrote a book about it.
Well. So let's break it down. And since you invoked that conversation, let's break it down. So first of all, where I think the confusion lies with most people in most training programs is, as I alluded to earlier, is segregation. They want to piecemeal things out. I'm going to do a little bit of this today, a little bit of that tomorrow. And the analogy I've used often, and I'm getting sick of hearing it, but some of you may never heard me say it, so for the sake of the audience, I'll say it. It's like the way you expend your energy is very much like the way you might consume your energy, right? So you know that it's important that you have all the substrates. You have to have protein, you have to have carbohydrate, and you have to have fat in order to have successful metabolism. That's as true as you'll ever want to know. You could eat it any way you want to, but I'm telling you, you leave one of those things off the table and you're going to be deficient. There's going to be a problem. All right. So now look at it as your training. You're going to need the low intensity work. You're going to need higher intensity work, and you're going to need work that is going to be more moderate, not necessarily aerobic, not necessarily high intensity. Right at about threshold. But so going back to the analogy of your consumption of energy, you don't think, well, because I know I need these 3 substrates, Monday is going to be carb day, Tuesday is going to be protein day, and I'm going to eat my fat on Wednesday. Because come the end of the week, even though you might have covered all the bases, you're not going to have nearly the success with your metabolism you might have had you were inclusive with those nutrients in your meals every day. So taking it back to the way you train, you need to maintain your intensity in order to keep your fitness in check, keep your speed on point. And then, of course, you need the aerobic potential to cover the distance that you hope to compete in. And then you also need the tolerance, lactate tolerance, to stomach the pace that you need to throw down when it's called upon. So flow training is nothing more than integrating all the necessary components and doing so in such a way that what's going on with my camera here? Did I freeze up?
Gotten a little frozen. We can still hear you, but you got a funny look on your face.
I know. What if my battery died?
I can see side of it. It looks like you took a screenshot or something.
All right, so I'm going to finish talking and then we'll kill it because this is hard to look at. Really hard to look at.
Okay.
I know what I'll do. It's like do this. I'll put my ad right in the middle.
Yeah, put the ad right over it. That'll be perfect.
It's looking good.
But what Richard's trying to say is that he likes to introduce a little bit of the work through most of your workouts during the week because it lets your body get used to moving between energy systems and knowing or improving your ability to switch between energy systems can make you a lot more efficient on race day because that'll actually improve your speed of recovery. And OCR is basically intervals. You're running intervals the whole time. You're going to run hard. You're going to stop at an obstacle. And usually a lot of us get strong enough to where the obstacles are actually kind of like a rest. You get on Z-wall, you take a couple deep breaths, move across, your heart rate comes down a little bit, and then you're like, you hit that bell and you're ready to throw down another 400. So that's one thing that I've really found from flow training is that heart rate recovery has gotten so much better because I'm introducing small bouts of intensity in my long runs, in my more moderate runs throughout the week, not for long times. Like say if the end goal of my week is still your traditional 80-20, right? We're focusing on mostly aerobic volume with 20% of intensity. Sometimes. And it's based on your goals. It can move higher or lower than that. But in a workout, you can still hit those.
Let me just step in for a second and just say that I look at the week. I look at the week against the next week and the week and week and week. So we're looking at how you're loading. And I know it's hard to look at this picture. It's like I died.
You go ahead. You go ahead and say something.
Maybe I just get rid of me. How's that? No. Look at that. Wait. Let me get rid of this dude.
You have his twin brother up there.
That's my other camera. Let's see if I get rid of this guy. Oh, there we go. Woo! That was sick. So by the way, I want you to notice a difference in the cameras. This is a much worse camera than the other one was.
That's all right. You look beautiful.
Oh, wow. That's fun. So anyway, I got a question here from Larry Caldwell. I'm going to put it up so you guys can see it. He wants to know what the difference is between this new flow training and the clinic I did. So Larry attended a clinic that I did. I think it was on the East Coast, about either Jersey or Philadelphia. It's been a couple years ago. And obviously that was before I wrote this book. And conceptually, a lot of what we discussed during the clinic then was very much in keeping with the type of things that I promote these days. With the major difference is that I did, in fact, have an epiphany between that time and this time. And you may have heard me, Larry, at that point in time discussing the fact that I was going to write a book and, it never seemed to materialize. And then all of a sudden, boom, it showed up. Well, some things happened that kind of rocked the boat and made me think about things. And it really did light me up. And I started to realize how logical and how simplistic the process is that we promote these days, and how beneficial it is for the athletes I've been coaching that's been using the work. And just because he's asked, I'll share that the turning point for me was when I wrote a program for CrossFitters. And these guys are all about high intensity work. And then, if you've ever seen anybody in a CrossFit gym, their badge of honor is after they do the work, they're laying on the ground in a pool of sweat. And to me, that just represented a failure. And someone might have a problem with me saying that, but I'd like to see the guy that did the same work and just get up and walk away from it, not be completely beat down because of the work he did. And that's really about commanding fatigue and commanding your energy system. And so I don't think it makes any difference whether it's short, high intensity efforts like that, or whether you're going to go uh, up a mountain for 14 miles. It's really all about commanding your energy system. And this is what the dark side's all about. It's just helping you to better understand your energy system and a smarter way to approach it so you can be more efficient. But thank you for the
And
question.
I will say that it was quite an epiphany when it happened. It was almost like everything just clicked. Everything Richard was trying to find, he was like, the system is flawed. There's a way to do this. And then I just get a call out of the blue. And he's like, Veejay, I figured it out, man. This is the move. And he starts explaining it to me. And he was talking so fast, I didn't really catch a lot of it. But once he got it dialed, it totally makes sense. And if you want to fully understand this concept, come to a clinic.
Yeah, that's coming. I mean, that's obviously. You were at the clinic when I got the dry erase board out and I created this little infinity symbol on the board, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. They thought finally that the butter has slipped off the toast. He's finally lost his mind. And then I started explaining it to people, and after a little bit, they started to kind of understand what I was talking about. It started to make sense. And it wasn't that complicated once they started to realize the logic of it. But since then, evolving and working it and employing it with more and more athletes and, really kind of messing around with it. I mean, I know Veejay, I don't know if Jason's ever had a chance to interact with Hunter McIntyre, but he's pretty hard-headed. And he was out to see me the other day, and I got the dry erase board out, and I started popping these icons on the board and putting the timelines in and the heart rate responses in it. And he took pictures of it. He's not one to really pay attention because he's pretty damn sure he's got it going on. But he started.
Well, he's a pretty smart dude. He's read a lot of books, but I think he's very like Arthur Lydiard in his approach to what he does.
He just wasn't ready to learn it yet. That's what I like to tell people. So I wasn't ready to learn it yet, and finally I was able to learn it. And once I got it, I'm so well convicted that I'm on the right path with this. That those that brave it, it's a departure. It's certainly going to take you away from the norm. But once you finally get it and understand what you're trying to get done, it's massive, and just short, it's massive. And the OPP people are getting it. And they're starting it. Jason, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming that you started to identify that these workouts are actually pretty sustainable, and at the same time, you're covering a lot of bases.
Yes, I wouldn't have been able to, before this, do the amount of work that I'm doing right now. And then even the long runs, like our flow runs that we've been doing, like I said before, I'd go out for a run no more than 45, maybe an hour. And then I'd be wasted for the rest of the day, or even I couldn't do a workout the next day. And now I'm able to go and do a lot of this work and still be able to sustain this stuff days in a row. So I've really enjoyed it, and I can tell a difference on my own physical and my own fitness level has improved drastically over the past few months going through with this.
Very cool. All right, well, look, guys, we've banged the drum quite a bit. We're about let's see, we're coming up on an hour deep here. I think it's time to put a fork in it. Jason, thank you so much for sharing with us today and coming on. You're a brave soldier. And
thanks for having me.
Are you a veteran?
No, I am not.
Okay. Well, since it is Veterans Day, I do want to shout out to my son who's serving. He is off in a different land right now and has been doing, being away from you're a father, you know how this is. My poor kid, they had a baby and he got deployed, and he left the baby, I don't know, weeks old, and won't be home for a year.
He's
to
gonna
see
miss a
it.
lot.
Oh my God! But just can you imagine how hard that might be?
I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what you're looking at that as being sacrifice, and I don't think people speak enough on the sacrifices that our soldiers make to do the things they do and to get into harm's way. I'm a veteran myself, and I don't like to think in terms of the sacrifices that I made because I was just young, dumb, and it didn't make any difference to me. I was just out doing nobody missed me, so it was fine. But being involved in the circumstances he's in special ops, and he's been all over the world and been in harm's way and with a family at home. It's just, gosh, it's just such a difficult thing, and so I'm very proud of him, and I'm proud of our veterans. So on Veterans Day, I salute you, my brothers and sisters.
I
All right,
support
so
that message 100%.
OPP, Oxnard. the What is it called again, VJ?
It's the OCR Performance Project. For short, it's OPP.
Get
And you
down
need to
with
get
OPP.
down with it. All
And
right? And we got a special deal coming up pre-Black Friday. We're waiving that enrollment fee. You just got to jump in, sign up, pay your steak dinner, and we're going to give you quality workouts 30 days of the month. Unless
You
we
won't
prescribe
regret
an
it.
off.
yeah, there might be an off day here and there.
Yeah. But we're getting people ready for next season. It's a very similar training program to what I'm doing personally. I am trying to bump things up a little bit myself, but I'm doing a lot of the workouts myself, and it's been good. And a lot of our people are seeing really amazing results. Seeing people PR in their miles, drop a minute off their 5K time. It's really gratifying to know that the work we're doing is having really great results for people. So thanks, Jason, for coming on and just letting us know that we're doing it right.